If you're interested in self-growth, then you should watch this video to the very end. Welcome to Redesign, hashtag Wired by Design to Live Right. My name is Owopon Anikan, and today we'll be talking about self-growth. But before we start, this is a good time to subscribe, turn on your notification button so you can know when my next video drops. So recently, I've been doing a lot of self-reflections, and I thought to share this with you, my community people. If you're like me, looking into self-reflection for self-growth, there are certain areas, there are certain questions that you should ask yourself, and there are certain areas you should look into. And it's not enough to just, ask yourself these questions, but the most important thing is that you have to journal about them. So you can have a set of questions where you need to journal about these questions. Why do you need to journal? Because from journaling, you gain clarity on your thoughts. You get to see your answers from a third person's eye view, or let me say a second person's eye view, right? Because you're reading something, you're reading this, so you're not reading it like you're the one writing it out now. You're reading it like, oh, this is something you've seen, this is something someone wrote, and so you're looking at it in a third eye view. For the clarity part, which journaling gives, so important, because it's one thing for you to ask yourself these questions and you answer them in your head, feel that, oh, you have an answer. But when you get to write these answers down, you get to see the ones that are well articulated, and you get to see the core challenges that you have. So it's more like writing brings a lot of clarity. So I would highly recommend journaling when you are doing self-reflection for self-growth. Now let's go right into these areas for self-growth. The first area, which is very, very important, a lot of people tend to neglect this very part, but this part is very, very crucial because it affects how you think about yourself. It affects your relationship with other people. So this first area, right, is your emotions. Under this, I would like to talk about emotional regulation. This is where you get to, check out your emotions, your recent emotions, identify triggers to a lot of things, identify why you respond the way you respond, identify the recent happenings in, time past. Have you had traumatic experiences that has triggered or lingered somewhere and you haven't identified it, you haven't looked forward to the solutions regarding this? So this is one of the key areas of your life, because if you don't identify your triggers, you don't identify what you're not okay with emotion wise, right, even down to conversations that you are okay with having or not having, this is very important. Honestly, if you don't identify this part, you're going to be leaving a part of your self-growth behind. When you find the triggers, what is triggering all this, you find out that, oh, I don't like when people talk to me in a certain way, in this way, I would love to be treated better. I don't like when this happens or that happens, I would love to feel this way, I'd love to feel that way. And for things you have no control over that could trigger that, you could know, okay, I have to, avoid this certain thing or that certain thing. Like emotions, your emotional regulation is basically just knowing what works for you, identifying your triggers, right? What are the things that are bringing out a particular response? For instance, responses on anger, responses on sadness. If you feel depressed, you would like to know what things are, triggering this, what things are bringing this out. So that way, you are more aware of yourself, knowing what works for you and what doesn't work for you. This is very, very important when it comes to self-growth, because from there you'll be able to prefer solutions. You would know where to be, what to do, who to be with, and who to talk to. The fact that over in this side, right, a lot of people neglect their emotions. They just say, oh, I'll get over it. No, it will keep repeating itself. So you have to look into your emotions. You could even Google more about it, right, for you to be more aware of yourself, and journal. I highly recommend you journal about your emotions. And even after writing, if you're one who is starting your journaling process, or you're one who journals a lot, I would like you to go through those stories, those things you have written, for you to identify, oh, this is a pattern, this is like patterns I have realized. From there you'll be able to check what the core challenge is, what is giving these triggers, right? You'll be able to circle out those things. Journal on any kind of emotions. So what made you happy, how you are feeling, ask the question, how are you ask yourself that question, how are you? Because a lot of us tend to just feel that, oh, the next response for how are you is I'm fine, where you know that you are not fine. Ask yourself, how are you? How are you feeling? Leave no stone unturned. Next one I would like you to also journal about is your strengths and your weaknesses. Yes, weaknesses alongside, because sometimes we like to talk about our strengths a lot, leaving out our weaknesses. I read somewhere that people who have high self-esteem are fully aware of their weaknesses too, and they know how to not get how do I put it, how to minimize the part of them moving into their weaknesses, right? This is what self-awareness does for you. For your strength, when you identify that, you get to ask yourself questions like, how do I use my strength to my advantage? Which this part too also comes in you looking at your finances, right? Because that is also part of self-reflection. I mean, self-growth. You're looking to increase your finances, especially if you are not okay with where you are. So you could also ask yourself questions like, how do I use my strengths? How do I use my strengths to get to increase my finances? How do I use it to my advantage, right? Because your strength could catch you a lot more than you think, but you are not exploring it. Not just in financial aspects, right? Even it could be your friendship, in your relationship, in your friendship circle, in your relationship, right? At home, helping people. How do I use my strength to the advantage of the society? Those are things to think about. I mean, that is self growth being attained when you identify all these things and work on it, right? And for self growth, the next thing you want to look at is your values, your core values, and your boundaries and your personal beliefs. You've not stood firm on what you believe in, you've not stood firm on your core values. It's easy to, let someone sway you out. But when you know what your core values are, it helps you, in your growth, because it separates you, it sets you apart, it makes you unique. Like, this person knows his or her boundaries. Oh, I don't do that. Or I don't do this. It just shows a certain level of, okay, this person has some form of self-respect. And I don't want to just put it out there, like, know your boundaries. You have to know your boundaries when it comes to relationship with people, when it comes to taking care of yourself, when it comes to, your finances, when it comes to your family. Yeah, what you can do, what you cannot do, and your boundaries will come out or should be stemmed out from knowing your core values. And how often do you really keep to your core values? Are you betraying yourself on a daily basis? No, these are things to think about. When last did I betray myself in regards to these core values that I have written? What happened? Why did I betray myself? These are things you have to do to bring yourself back to order. This is how self-growth comes. This is like the basic forms of introspection and knowing yourself, to increase your self-value, to increase your self-growth. Rather, it's not like increasing your self-value, to know your worth, because you're worth more, but you have to know it. Journaling about where you compromise and all of it gives you room to, what can I do better? How can I grow out of this? How can I do better next time? The next thing you would really want to be, introspective on when it comes to your self-growth is, what are your goals? Because you would think you have a goal till it's time to write that goal down. That is when you realize, there's a lot of comma in this goal, right? So you have to write your goal down. And if your goal could be like, oh, the big picture, I want to attain this, you have to write practical steps on how you want to achieve this goal. And writing step by step, like the step by step on achieving this goal, gives you clarity on the goal, more articulated, because okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that to be able to attain this particular goal I am striving or aiming for. Habakkuk 2 says, write the vision, make it plain, so that you may run with it. So it's very important for you to write your vision down, your goals, write it down. Let it be step by step. This is what I want to achieve. I'm going to achieve this. This is how I'm going to achieve that. So you're not just working with it in your head. You have something laid out. You have something you're going through. The next thing, your creativity. How well are you using your creativity? I mean, God has created us with so much worth of value. How are you exploring it? Writing about it doesn't just end there. You have to also include things like, where have I used my
creativity recently? How am I using it? Do I need to improve? What courses do I need to take? What do I need to look more into? What tools do I need to get? Because it's from your creativity that exploring into it, right? You can know what to go for next, what to be on your to buy list, right? You can know, oh, this is what I'm getting next, this is what I'm getting next, because I want to attain this, because I want to attain that. How well am I exploring it? You know, is it writing? Is it making videos? Is it painting? Whatever it is, you have to look well into it. How well am I exploring this particular gift? It also helps you identify a lot of things that you have been, pushing away. And even to your creativity, right? You could also go as far as asking people closer to you, what do you think I'm really good at? What have you noticed? Because a lot of times we're here, I've realized that you may not even notice what you are very, very good at till you ask people. For instance, because this is part of it, you could be that person in the house that arranges a little space, very like making it look big, right? You're very good in arranging stuff, you're very good in cleaning this. How when you just arrange chairs or arrange something, there's something unique about it. That is still something to explore, right? That's why I said you have to journal for introspection, and this is not something that is just done. Okay, I'm done with journaling, I've done this, and then you move it aside. You have to go through it, keep updating. What have I done since the last time I journaled about this and I found out this? What have I done about it? Yes, those are things you should look out for if you are seeking self-growth. The next one is your needs. I feel like we all have to sit back and ask ourselves this question: what do I really want now? Because see, what you want changes within, like, it doesn't matter of time, it changes. Next month your wants or what you need at that point could be very, very different. So you have to sit down. This one is not even a quarterly, or it's something you have to ask yourself, sit with yourself frequently. When you identify what you really need, that's when you're able to even know what you are going for, or even to know what to buy next, right? Or to know how to make good use of your finances. Like, you really need to ask yourself these questions. And what do I need now is not just for finances or career and all of that, down to your relationship, your business. What do I need now? Do I need to learn new courses? It will shock you that most times, if you don't sit with your journal or really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do I need now? You will not know what you need, and you'll be feeling so frustrated. And also questions like, am I really using my time wisely? I mean, this phase of my life where I should be, doing this or doing that, am I really using my time wisely? If what are the necessary steps that I should take to be able to use that time wisely? Even down to how well am I using my leisure times? Honestly, you need to ask yourself this question: am I whiling myself away with watching movies? I'm not saying it's bad, right? But why are you watching the movie? Okay, if it's for relaxation, all right. But your leisure time should be used wisely. Maybe you should get a book, read books, go get courses, volunteer. Just do something that helps you grow, right? Because this is part of self-growth. Volunteer, especially, it could be added to like your certificates, or just something reasonable to do instead of whiling away your time. And the last one is your affirmations. You may ask, why is this important to my self-growth? You need your affirmations to keep you going, things that motivate you, not just things that motivate you, right? For me, my affirmations are more of, what I have heard God said to me, or scriptures that have lifted my spirit, or scriptures that I need to meditate on in this season of my life. So that is what my affirmations are. It's more like saying back to yourself what God has said to you. What God says to you and what you're saying about yourself is the most important thing before any other thing. You need to keep yourself on that positive note, and you need to keep yourself on with words. Yes, words will always shape whatever system you're in. Your words go ahead of you, so do not leave it vacant, because in this season of self-growth, you really need it. I have a couple of self-growth questions that I have asked myself in this season, and writing about it too helps me for clarity's sake. If you would love to get access to these questions, just check. I will drop a link in the description box, or you could comment it or reach out to me on IG. Display my IG handle on the screen for you. Let me know if these tips I shared today was really helpful and if you would love to see more videos like this. And don't forget to share this video. Bye!
Like this video now, leave a comment before you go, and don't forget to share this to your friends and your loved ones.